Welcome back, everybody, to the most listened to radio program on the internet, the Surdale Radio Experience. You know, just the other day, I had the unfortunate circumstance to be talking with the host of the most unlistened to radio program on the internet, the Radio Dan Show. Yeah, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I did go ahead and I had to speak with Radio Dan about a couple of issues, and he said some things that really pissed me off. And I'm only saying this part here because I'm thinking there is a theoretical possibility that I misheard what Radio Dan was saying, because I was so freaked out by just the idea that I had to actually be, having an actual discussion with this guy. And if that's the case, then I apologize in advance, but I'm pretty sure that I heard him correctly. And Radio Dan was telling me that he was not a big fan of the legendary show, the Beverly Hillbillies. In fact, he seemed to be putting it down a little bit. He didn't seem to think that the Beverly Hillbillies was nearly as good as other stuff, like I Love Lucy and things of that nature. And he said that he'd only seen a couple of episodes. He doesn't know that he's seen any all the way through. And he basically, without saying it, he implied that the Beverly Hillbillies was a substandard show, an inferior product. And that really, really pissed me off a little bit, because the Beverly Hillbillies, people, is one of the best shows in history. And if you just think of the concept, you have an old white trash family that lives out in some part of the United States that we as normal Americans would like to pretend does not exist. They find oil on that land, and they become richer than their wildest imaginations would allow them to perceive. They are independently wealthy now. But their etiquette does not change. Their mindset doesn't change. Their thinking doesn't change. And so you take these people who have a very childlike understanding of life, and you put them in the middle of Beverly Hills, where people are cultured beyond logic. They're cultured in a way where they're taught the art of pretend. They're put in an environment where they pay more for things than they're worth, just so that they can say that they paid more. And everything is provided for them. Every service imaginable is there because they can afford it. And you bring people who are used to hunting their own food, bringing it in, cutting the hair off of it, and cooking it. And you put them side by side with these other people who are appalled by their very existence. The idea that Radio Dan does not have the mental capacity to see how that is an amazing show actually makes me understand why he's no more of a success than he actually is. And I actually worry about intern Jessica at this point, because, she's holding on to extra baggage at this point. She's holding on to a man that has no ability to go further in life. She's holding on to a man that has no future. And the evidence of it is the fact that he lacks the ability to take what's presented to him and see it for what it is. What do you do when there's somebody in your area, somebody in your neighborhood that's new to the neighborhood, new to the lifestyle, new to the money, and their kids are running amok? I say we investigate this. I found an etiquette class that I want to, maybe they can give us the answers that we seek.
Hello, Patricia Fitzpatrick.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm well.
Hi, I'm calling from Chicago area, and I'm wondering, do you still teach etiquette classes, and do you teach the one-on-one classes, or is it a group setting?
I do both, actually.
Okay. Oh, you're the person who teaches the class?
Yes, I am. I'm Patricia Fitzpatrick.
Okay. Hi, Patricia. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good. Yeah, we were looking to possibly set up an etiquette class in the New York area because we have some people from our community that are actually going to be taking a vacation, and we're going to be trying to get them there. As a community, we wanted to fund it. We were just looking for a class for an entire family. And just
Right.
to give you just a little bit of background, we live in an extremely upscale and affluent community. And this particular family just moved into the community. Prior to moving into the community, they lived in a very unaffluent community, if you will, to say it lightly. And they won one of those lottery situations. However, there's a lot of problems that are being caused in the community simply because the manners, the etiquette, some of the children are running through the community and things of that nature. And what we had a meeting last night, and one of the people in the group said, if we could find a good etiquette class, we might be able to take this family and transform them into a family that would be able to better assimilate in our community. And that's where you came up. We had someone do some research who was able to get me a number, and that's why I'm calling.
And you would send them to New York?
Yes. At this point, we would be willing to do that. They said that they're going to be going on vacation soon anyway, and we would actually be willing to fund one of their stops in New York if there was any possible way that you think that something like this could be good for this family.
Right. Well, the thing of it is, it would take, a number of hours. I don't know if 1 hour or 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, no, we think that they're going to be there for a good week. We think that
For how long?
We think they're going to be there for a week.
A week?
Yeah.
A week. Well, let me think about this, how to approach this. And you said, how many children are there?
Well, there are 3 children, but they constantly have, nieces and nephews that are coming around. And we were thinking that if we're able to teach the children some manners and stop them from being so wild and rambunctious through the community, that they might at least be able to get their cousins or so in check when the cousins come to town.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also, one of the other challenges might be that they're one of the first African American families that are inside of this affluent community, and that could also be a problem as well, because you probably have a cultural difference when it comes to, the training of the African American children versus the training of the Caucasian children, and we're thinking that also could be a clash because we don't know whether or not these children can be trained in our way. I'm asking theoretically. Is this something
theoretically, children are children.
Oh. Okay.
Children are children.
Doesn't matter their
black,
race.
white, whatever color they are, whatever nationality they are.
Okay.
They're all trained, etiquette, especially, the etiquette I teach is classic etiquette, in modern day manners.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same for everyone.
Okay.
Whether they're in their communities or our communities.
Oh.
Okay. Or, wherever they are.
See, we were under the impression that there was a completely different type of education that had to be given for African American children in order for them to.
But one would need to speak in a way that they would understand.
You have been a great help. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye. I thought that was a very enlightening discussion that we just had, because she was able to tell us and show us that even if a family is African American, they can still learn. This lady was able to dispel the myth that African Americans are unable to obtain new knowledge. She says you just have to talk to them differently. You have to talk to them in a language that they can understand. I think that was code, though, for Ebonics. I think that what she was saying is that when she speaks to the African Americans, she's got to do it in an Ebonic way, which is probably brilliant. She may be ahead of her time.